South Africa's ANC keeps mum over speculations on President Zuma's exit as a leaked recording of the party's Treasurer General Paul Matashile makes the rounds in the country. And the Commonwealth welcomes the Gambia back as member. Plus, the first batch of former rebels in Central African Republic are integrated into the country's army. It's a pleasure to have you on the show. I am Bisia Debayo. We'll begin in South Africa, where the ruling African National Congress reveals that the party had been preparing to fire Jacob Zuma as head of state this week, but a negotiated exit now looks more likely. The ANC had scheduled a meeting on Wednesday evening of its National Executive Committee, which has the authority to fire Zuma, but cancelled it late on Tuesday after constructive talks between the new ANC leader, Cyril Ramaphosa, and Zuma. Ramaphosa said on Wednesday that he was holding direct talks with Zuma over a transition of power and he hoped to conclude their discussions in coming days. Meanwhile, the leaked recording of the African National Congress Treasurer General has shed light on the internal discussions on President Jacob Zuma's future as head of state. The audio of Paul Matashile, recorded from the mining indaba in Cape Town this week, has revealed how a postponed National Executive Committee meeting was expected to push Zuma out of the union buildings. In the meantime, the party's Secretary General Ace Magashule has refused to say when President Jacob Zuma will step down. Magashule spoke alongside ANC Chief Whip Jackson Mutembu after the ANC Parliamentary Caucus held its first briefing since the party's national conference last month, when Cyril Ramaphosa was elected leader. Magashule declined to respond to questions from the media on when President Zuma will likely resign. South African journalist Bakozile Diko joins us for more on this. Thanks for joining us, Bakozile. Well, let's begin with a leaked recording of the ANC's Treasurer General Paul Matashile making rounds in South Africa. Does the leaked audio shed light on the ANC's National Executive Committee's plan for President Zuma?
What we do know is that conversations happening between the ANC president and state president Jacob Zuma, along with the top six, indicate that President Jacob Zuma is digging in his heels and refusing flatly to leave office as president of South Africa. So the recording from the ANC's Treasurer General has given us the first hint that President Jacob Zuma is definitely not willing to vacate his office as state president of South Africa.
Oh,
and
yes.
that what the ANC does appear to want is for him to leave.
Now, yesterday, the ruling party said it had a fruitful and constructive discussion with President Zuma. What do you make of this? Do you see any deal in the making?
At this point, it's anyone's guess, but it would appear that as far as President Jacob Zuma is concerned, no deal will be made because it's become quite clear that he's not willing to leave. Whether or not certain conditions can be met to allow that to happen, no one really knows because very little information was shared from that statement that was released yesterday, except to say that a conclusion will hopefully be reached soon and that South Africans indeed need closure on the matter and that some kind of transition must be negotiated. So at this point, no one really knows the content of those discussions and just how close are the parties in reaching some kind of agreement. But as I've said just now, it would appear that the ANC is trying to get him to vacate office, but it would seem that they're trying to do so in a manner that will also give President Jacob Zuma some kind of dignity.
But there are speculations that President Zuma will quit only if the right terms are negotiated. Do you agree with that?
At this point, it would appear that he certainly is looking for something. What that something is, as I've told you, no one knows, because the ANC is remaining quite tight-lipped about what the content of the discussions are. In fact, just today in Parliament in Cape Town, ANC held a special caucus meeting. Again, they emerged from that meeting and refused to share any information as to what it is that is being actually discussed.
Now, the Deputy President, Cyril Ramaphosa, has been warned that he could come off as a weakling in his handling of President Jacob Zuma's exit. How would you rate his handling of the issue so far?
I would say that widespread analysis across the country, different political analysts are pretty much alluding to the fact that they feel that the ANC president and state deputy president Cyril Ramaphosa is indeed playing things too safe, and that he should make a strong decision and not care about the consequences. So it would appear that at this moment, a lot of people do feel that Ramaphosa is not handling this in a strong manner, and that he might just then appear weak. Whether or not he is, or whether he is trying to be diplomatic about it, only time will tell, and history will be the judge of how he's handling the matter.
Journalist Bazukile Diko, thanks for your time. Now, the Gambia is rejoining the Commonwealth almost 5 years after it withdrew under the rule of ousted President Yahya Jammeh, who branded it a neo-colonial institution. The occasion was marked with a flag-raising ceremony at the Commonwealth headquarters in London. President Adama Barrow had applied for the West African nation's readmission to the body soon after he took office last January, seeking to improve the relationship with Western governments. The Gambia is now the fourth country to return to the Commonwealth after South Africa, Pakistan, and Fiji. Kenyan opposition figure Miguna was greeted with cheers and hugs after landing in exile in Canada. The dual national citizen was forced to leave the country of his birth just over a week after taking part in the unofficial inauguration of opposition leader Raila Odinga in the capital, Nairobi. A warm reception with live TV coverage awaited deported Mr. Miguna, arriving to joyful scenes in Toronto. But concerns have been raised over the legality of Mr. Miguna's deportation, especially because he had been facing a treason-related charge.